So hey guys, I'm Navneet from the team of Chess Gaja, and I'm here to explain you concepts of chess, especially to those of you who are absolute beginners at this game. So today's lesson is unique because we are not going to learn what to do in chess, but rather what not to do. I invite you all to watch this video with me about the top 5 worst openings in chess. So opening number 1, it's the Damiano Defense. Why should you not do it? Let me first show you what Damiano Defense is. So it begins with the e4, e5, and then white plays knight f3. In response to it, black makes a mistake of playing f6. You should never play this move, and why is what you'll see now. In this scenario, you have opened this diagonal, the h5 e8 diagonal, which exposes your king too much. But that is not even the biggest issue. The biggest issue is this particular move, knight takes e5. Because you can't really take this back. You would say, oh, what's the problem? Well, try to do so. Let's say black takes knight. Then comes this tricky attack. The queen gives a check to the king, and you cannot stop this queen. There is no piece to stop except pawn to g6. But you can see the problem as well. Pawn comes to g6, queen takes e5, and then queen takes rook because it would be a check. So the king would essentially have to move, losing its castling ability. And even if it moves, even then there is a check, and again there is nothing to defend. So king would have to come here, and the bishop. You can see how black is immediately losing this game. Why? All because of a simple mistake of moving f6. If he moves f6, then knight takes pawn. And okay, you might stop at just the loss of a pawn, but even the loss of a pawn is bad, and you have given white an advantage of it. So say no to the Damiano defense. So the next bad opening is the Wayward Queen Attack. Not just this attack, but every opening that brings out the queen early is bad. Early queen is a bad idea. So in this particular opening, what happens is you play the standard e4, e5, and then white decides to go for queen h5, trying to threaten this pawn. And white hopes that oh black might retaliate with g6 and he will take the advantage of it. Why? Because if black plays g6, then white takes e5, a check, and the rook is gone. But black might decide not to do so if black is smart. What would black do? What would black would first defend this pawn, and you can see he has developed a piece. White cannot do anything right now. So let's say white decides to move something arbitrary, and then white will be in trouble because black will keep attacking the queen, and wherever the queen goes, black will keep developing, and white is really behind in development, and it also has to save his queen. Why? Because the queen is way too important to be exchanged with these smaller pieces. So white will spend a first few of his moves in defending the queen while black will develop, essentially putting white at a disadvantage. So don't do this. Rather, try to stick with the London or the usual openings where you develop the smaller pieces first. The next one is pretty obvious. You won't do it. It's Grob's attack. I'll just tell you what it is, but I'm sure you would not make that move. So in Grob's attack, White just decides to open with g4. I mean, you can see there is not really any point of this move. Why? It has opened, it has exposed the g2 square. White won't be able to castle now in this particular side. There has been no real development, no pieces out. You are not controlling the center. And yeah, there is literally no point of it. Moves like G4, H4, A4, you should not move them in the first place. They are just weird and random and don't give you anything beneficial to play with. So even this move, you won't make it usually, but if you do, it's F3. Don't move F3 in the first place. And I think it is pretty obvious why. Why? Because see, this pawn on F2 is very delicate. It's only supported by the king. So, and even this diagonal is very delicate. You should keep this diagonal as safe as possible as long as the king is there. If you decide to move f3, okay, fine, you control this square, but nothing really happened as well as the right. I mean, the queen might come out, try to give you a check. The bishop might come out in a few moves, not like that, of course. But yes, this opening isn't really good. It's not giving you anything advantages, and it is exposing this diagonal, which is bad for you. Definitely bad. And so the last one is the stupidest of them all. It's called the Bongcloud. It's just funny, and that's why it's famous. I'll just show you what a Bongcloud opening is. So white goes e4, black goes d5, and then white decides, oh, let's just push the king forward. I mean, why do I need to even tell why is this a bad move? You are moving the goddamn king. The king should be safe, not out in the battlefield when all the pieces are alive. Keep your king safe. Keep it in the last rank, behind the pawns. Let the other pieces play. Don't send your king out. So that was it about today, guys. Hope to see you in the next video and more lessons about chess. If you want to watch anything in particular, please drop down a comment and we'll definitely create it. And do subscribe to Chess Gaja to watch more such content.